All right, welcome back to Retirement Unplugged. I got old Heath Legg back with me again.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again.
Yeah. But this time, let's just talk about some Illinois hunting, man. You've had some good hunts, and I think we talked about it. You've killed some pretty good deer. 4 years in a row or so?
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, just to kind of go through my hunting history a little bit.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. How long have you been hunting in Illinois? How long have you been up at that farm?
In Illinois, excuse me, I've owned a farm up there now for 4 years, and I've been hunting up there for 5 or 6. I'd have to really think back to see. But,
yeah,
hunting started for me, deer hunting anyway, when I was in the, I think, junior high.
Sure.
8th or 9th grade, and
right.
excuse me, my dad was a pastor, and we lived in Florida.
Yeah.
And so it was farmers would let us hunt and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we were lucky if we even saw a deer.
Well, I was going to say Florida deer is probably, aren't they kind of some small deer, right?
Well, my dad killed a pretty good one down there, when a big mature buck, when it was an 8-point, but it was a big deer, but it was on farmland, and so, but they'd give us permission to hunt, and I never killed one down there until the last year we lived there. And, it's kind of a funny story. I had gone with Dad early that morning, and there were no cell phones,
Oh, sure.
No,
the good old days. That's what I like to call them.
No
the good old days.
No cell phones.
Man.
But I had a 20 gauge shotgun.
Yeah.
And he dropped me off at this shooting house, and it was a Saturday, and he said, "We've got a work day at church today." So he said, "If you want to stay and hunt all day, I'll leave you, and I'll come back and hunt this evening and get you after the hunt."
Oh, wow. And how old were you?
9th grade, I think.
Okay.
8th or 9th grade. And so, all I had was my watch. So it's 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and he's gone. He was hunting in a different location. I was by myself. But about 10:45 or so, a spike came out, and it was just a big old dump pile of corn out there. They had dumped out of the back of the truck. And that cow horn spike came in there, and I mean, I turned him a flip with that 20 gauge. And anyway, it was hot. We were in Florida. And so all day, no way to get in touch with anybody. I'm out in the middle of nowhere and have killed this deer. So that thing's in the heat all day long.
Oh, man, I didn't think about that.
And, I got down and looked at him or whatever, but I sat back in the shooting house, And so that evening, after he hunted, he came in to get me. I'm getting way off on a rabbit trail here, but it's funny. Just stay with me.
Yeah.
And so after dark, he comes in and he's like, "Well, boy, did you see anything?" I said, "Yeah, I got one, first deer." And so we get it, and I didn't know anything about field dressing the deer or anything. And so he had an old beat up Dodge truck, buckshots on the back, street tires on the front.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, and so we load that deer up, and we're trying to get out of there, and he gets off in a water hole and got the distributor wet, and the truck quit, and so again, no cell phones, no nothing. And so Dad is not very mechanically inclined.
Yeah.
But I had been taking some small engine classes and stuff there. One of the church members was a teacher at the vocational college. And then I had a buddy that went to church with, and he was working on the old 69 Chevelle or something. So I had learned a little bit.
Sure.
But anyway, Dad starts yanking distributor spark plug wires off.
Oh, no.
And so he took the cap off, and sure enough, it's soaking wet. Or he dries it out or whatever and puts it back on. And he just starts sticking them plug wires back on. And I said, "Dad, I'm not sure, but I think those have to go in a certain order."
Yeah.
No, you get it on there, man. Them spark plugs are good. It'll fire up. Well, we couldn't get the truck started.
Sure.
So it ended up, we walked forever. And finally, a church member, the guy that we were hunting on his land, came looking for us. But the deer stunk, the meat was ruined, and all this stuff. So it was a whole experience. But so that was hunting in Florida. And so then we just over several years we got back to this area, and I hunted down in Flint Bottoms for a while.
Sure.
I had a buddy that his dad leased that property, hunted down there, and then I ended up getting in a club in South Alabama. Was the first real, I would say, paying club that I was in that was legit.
When I not not to butt in, but it's like when I moved here, everything's a club. You know, where I'm from, we just hunted on private property back then. And but when I moved down here, I was like, oh, you're going to get into a club. You know, you can't hunt here. You can't do this. Everything's a club, man.
Yeah. So the one I got in Selma was 7,000 acres. It was a great place. We had our campground and everybody would hang out. It was just was a good experience.
Good camaraderie.
Yeah, killed some good deer there. We started with 52 members, I think. And the last year I was in it, we had 14. So I was in there like 12 years.
Yeah.
And slowly the number of members went down and the dues went up, but we were managing those deer.
Yeah, that's good.
And so we were killing, 4 and 5 year old deer. You know, you're talking about 140, 150 inch deer was all they would get because they
still good for this area.
Yeah, it's hard to get big on pine cones and rocks.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have anything to eat. But hunted down there for, like I said, about 12 years. And then I got in a club in Kentucky and did that for about the same amount of time, probably 10, 11 years. And that's where I started killing some pretty nice deer.
Yeah.
And that first booner I killed was a 239, was in that area.
In Kentucky?
In Kentucky,
Oh, wow.
And then after that,
Great
I went to
experience.
Illinois. Been in Illinois ever since.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I'll never hunt anywhere else for whitetail.
Oh, yeah. You've kind of staked your claim up in Illinois.
That's the spot, man. Yeah.
Now, and not just what area of Illinois? You have to tell me exact.
Pike County.
Pike
It's
County.
Pike
That's a
County.
pretty popular area, right?
It
Pike
is.
County. Yeah. And I think you've got a bunch of friends up in that same area, so, which makes it good.
There's several of us, and I think we talked about this a little on the last podcast. So the fun thing about it is we each have our own properties we hunt. We're not hunting together.
Right.
But after we hunt, we go back to somebody's place and talk about it. And there's no having to be secretive or competitive. Or
That's right.
You're just, man, I'm after this deer and I saw him, and you're telling everything,
That's awesome.
But I really enjoy that part of it.
And I think just to backtrack a little bit, we talked about your 239, the 239 inch deer you killed, which was a heck of a deer. I'm in Kentucky, and you was running a bunch of cameras, spending a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time to kill to get on a good deer, worrying about somebody else getting on him, all that good stuff. But what'd you tell me you were up there? How long?
It was a little over a month. I don't remember the exact number of days now, but it was about 45 days,
That's
something
crazy.
like that. And I hunted every day.
Yeah.
And that deer was, if anybody saw the last, I don't want to retell all that,
that's
but
fine.
I just couldn't pattern him.
Yeah.
He was extremely difficult to pattern. He wasn't doing the same thing. And trust me, I had the cameras on him. I knew what he was doing. He just wouldn't do the same thing.
Yeah.
But that deer put on, when he showed up in the spring, first pictures I got of him was at a mineral lick, and he had like some weird looking knots on his head or something. I was like, this is going to be kind of neat to see what this deer does.
Yeah.
But then he started developing into something special, and I had no idea where he came from because I'd never seen him before, I thought. And so well after the fact of killing him, it was several months later, I was looking through pictures from the year before. And I came across a deer that I called double brow that I passed on multiple times the deer before. And I got a particular angle of him. I thought, I think that's Medusa. And really got to looking, and it was. He put on over 100 inches in a year.
How in the world?
I don't know. I don't know if it was an injury.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he put on over 100. If I think about it, I'll send you that picture too, so you can.
Wow, that's awesome.
But it's over 100 inches in a year.
Yeah. A lot of people, and I think we did talk about it last time, a lot of people don't put that kind of time in. 45 days of hunting.
It was brutal.
That is brutal. You just don't see a lot of people doing that. And myself, even, growing up, it was, hey, I'm hoping I'm in the right spot today.
Well, it almost turned into work, really. But I knew that if I didn't get him killed before the rifle season opened, one of our neighbors or one of our club members would have killed him, chasing a doe, probably. And now knowing what deer he was, I saw him all the time the year before.
Yeah.
So, which is funny because
that's interesting.
He was so hard to get on
Yeah.
that next year when I wanted to kill him. But the year before, it was almost like I saw him every other time I hunted.
It's almost like he knew what he had. He didn't want you to have it. You know what I mean? He's like,
he's in my office now. So
there you go.
Yeah, he messed up.
Now you moved into, and that was the year before, not this season, the season before, right?
Well, he was the first booner that I killed, so that would have been 4 seasons ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
4 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And then you recently killed another, 186?
Yeah, so I killed him first. That was my first booner. And I had killed several deer in the 160s. But he was the first booner. And then the next year I killed a 174, he was 174 point something. So I call it say 175.
What was he though? Was he a mainframe?
He was a an 8 point with a split. So a 9. He's a big 9 point. He had a split G2 on one side.
Oh
wow. So I killed him. He was 175. And then last year I killed that 186 you mentioned. And then the year before that I killed one called Bingo. That was 184 and a half. So, I mean, I've been
you've been on them.
Extremely fortunate the last 4 years.
You know, and it's funny. You killed a 186 this season. And it's funny to me because it seemed like a lot of people you talked to this season, it was a struggle for a lot of people.
It was. So I have my farm up there and then a farm that I lease. And the farm I lease is about 30 minutes away from my farm. So I've got 2 different deer herds I'm hunting.
Okay.
And if I hadn't had that lease this year, I wouldn't have had a deer to hunt. I mean, and I had, that being said, I had multiple deer that would have been mature bucks this year to consider going after, but EHD got them.
Really?
I know that's what happened because they made it after the season last year, and I found sheds on most all of them, so they survived. But I think I'll be up shed hunting in another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that I don't find them, but I know I probably will just because I didn't get pictures all season of them.
Was there reports in that area?
Oh yeah,
was there?
Yeah, there was a lot of it. It was real dry, and you know, even I've got a pond on my place that doesn't have steep banks, and it's still real low, but it's muddy all the way around it, which is where those midgets thrive. And when it's that dry, they have to come to those ponds.
Wow.
You know? And
that's right.
But yeah, one of my buddies we hunt with up there, between him and a neighbor that we know, they have found over 20 already.
Really? That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to see that kind of stuff.
I do too.
You know, it's like you work for a herd of deer, right? You're taking care of them, you're feeding, you're planting, you're doing all the things you need to do, and then you lose them to something like that.
Well, you watch them. I mean, you're watching them grow. You're watching them from, you know, yearlings, hopefully up to a 7 or 8 year old deer. And like you said, you're planting the plots, you're taking the pictures, you're putting the time in and passing on them. And we were talking about this not long ago. It's almost really a miracle for them to make it to that age. They're not getting hit by a car. They're not getting a disease. They're not getting killed in a fight with another one.
Yeah.
You know, not getting shot by a hunter. There's so many different factors for one to make it to maturity.
Right. That's sad. Well, I mean, it sounds like you kind of already know what's going to happen, but hopefully next year will be a better.
I hope so.
Yeah, but, you know, I talked to a lot of guys that I worked with over time, or that, you know, back home or where I'm from, that they had the same, not the HD part, but the same issues as finding deer. Deer really weren't moving, just not seeing a lot of deer, you know, really, and not seeing a lot of big deer. So it's going on everywhere. I guess it's just a rough year.
It is,
and you still pulled a 186 out of it.
But
we're sitting there saying, "Hey, it's rough." But
I had between the lease farm and my farm, there were at least 6 that would have been mature, and he's the only one that made it. Unless something else happened. I mean, I don't have any kind of proof that EHD got all of them yet, unless I find them.
Yeah.
But he's the only one that showed up out of all of those. And fortunately, I got lucky and got him. But man, if it hadn't been for him, I'd have had nothing to go after this year.
Yeah, because I know some of the other guys that are hunting in that same area that really had nothing.
Yeah,
you know, to choose from, and they just putting their time in, hoping something would come through.
That's right.
Yeah. What do you attribute to your success to when it comes to hunting in Illinois? Besides, you put the time in. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I think first and foremost is the place you have to hunt. You know, I mean, for years I would pass on deer down in Selma and wait, you know, hoping to see that 170-inch deer. And we didn't have all the cameras back then. It was just go out and find the buck sign and the deer sign in the trails and maybe find a white oak tree dropping or something and set up and hunt. Saw a ton of deer, but the deer I was looking for just didn't exist down there.
Sure.
And so now just being blessed enough to have a property or lease or whatever that a 200-inch deer can exist on because of genetics in the area. And one of the biggest things is what they have to eat up there. So they've got alfalfa, corn, soybeans, wheat, acorns. They constantly have something to put in their stomachs. Where South Alabama, they don't. And the genetics are not great down there either. But
I'd say something else you're probably fortunate in. A lot of people that are around you are maybe hunting the same way you hunt.
They do,
You know,
and I've met all the neighbors.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of them that'll, if they hadn't killed something by the end of the season, they're more likely to shoot maybe a 3.5-year-old.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're on the same page.
That's the good thing, because it's all too often you hear, hey, my neighbor will shoot whatever.
Yeah.
And then you really can't manage your herd whenever everybody around you is doing the opposite.
That's correct. And if you've got, let's just say you got a guy and he lets his buddy come hunt, and his buddy's got 2 kids and they hunt. Really, it's me, my dad, and my daughter.
Yeah.
And I take my dad up once a year, usually carry him kind of during the rut so he can see a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And my daughter didn't go last year. So I didn't kill a deer on my farm last year.
I'll be.
So yeah, it's not very heavily pressured at all. And you can tell it. I mean, when you go hunt and they're coming out at 2:00 in the afternoon, you can tell they're not pressured.
Yeah, that's nice.
In Selma, they would walk out and they're looking at the
Skittish.
shooting house, as soon as they walk out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's kind of like hunting on the refuge here. So when I moved here, I really had no place to hunt. I'd travel back to Missouri to hunt, and all that good stuff. But I tried to hunt around here just to see what it was like. And I hunted the refuge, like a lot of people did.
I did too.
I would boat in, and do all that stuff. And it's like those deer walk through there looking in the trees.
yeah,
It's
they
like-
know. They're smart. They've got it figured out.
I was like, man, this is crazy.
And I don't know about you. I did all the whole trying to boat in or ride a bike in
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And I got tired of sitting there and then hearing somebody coughing or somebody walks past. And I mean,
Yeah, I know.
I killed a few, but it was, man, I was thankful a lot of times if I hunted a whole season and saw a couple of does.
I know, I know. It's terrible, but then you hear about people killing some good deer off there. I'm like, I don't know where they find them at, but somebody gets lucky every once in a while.
No, I'm with you. I think Bankhead's the same way.
Yeah.
They pull some pretty good ones out of there every year, but I've never hunted Bankhead.
Well, I've been out there a time or two, and it's rough hunting to me. I was always worried about getting in there too deep. You know what I mean? Because the place is large.
Oh yeah.
And maybe what some people don't realize, some do know more than me, but there's a lot of rock bluffs and stuff down in there. You got to know where you're going.
I had a guy, you talking about hunting the refuge. I won't say his name because it might embarrass him, but he was from Scottsboro, went to school over there. But anyway, we were probably in our 20s, I guess, and we went hunting over in Greenbrier.
Yep. Been over there.
Around the not Greenbrier Road, Rock House Road. area,
Rock
if you've
House
ever
Road,
been
back
over there.
behind the airport.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we got out and rode bikes way back in there. And I came out to the truck. He had driven, and I came all the way out to the truck. Didn't have cell phones. And we'd meet you back at the truck after dark. Well, he never showed up. So I went back in there and couldn't find him. Found his bicycle laying there, and I was scared to death something bad had happened.
Yeah.
So I'm hollering for him, and I'm thinking, well, I guess I'm just going to ride my bike out and get to a phone and call the game warden, whoever, see if we can find this guy. And when I got back to the truck, now this was a period of 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
It was in the middle of the night. When I got back to the truck after I had been looking for him all that time, he was there at the truck. He wasn't on his bicycle, but he had gotten turned around.
Sure, walked out the wrong direction.
Yeah, no cell phone, nothing to go by, no GPS. And he got out in the middle of one of those swamps, and he said, I just walked until I finally saw a light. And it was one of the lights on 565.
I'll be dang.
And he just kind of followed till he got where he knew where he was.
Man, it happens easy. Quick story. I decided one day to put in and I was going to cross the river. I put in over behind what's the name of that neighborhood? Off of 67, back at that old boat ramp in there.
Hickory Hills?
Hickory Hills,
Yeah.
yes. I put in back there. It was dark. Put my boat in, and it was just a mud run. You know what I mean? Water was down. I went all the way across the river underneath the bridge and went back in there. And I noticed it done broke daylight and all that good stuff. I was like, man, the wind's really picking up. I'm going to have to do something.
Yeah.
So I was worried, the river's going to get rough. And sure enough, I got down and that river's white capping.
Oh, gosh.
And I was by myself.
What were you in?
I was in my 17-foot War Eagle boat.
Yeah.
Still, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And when I got back out to the mouth of the river there underneath the bridge, game warden come by me in his boat. I mean, he was airing. That's how high the waves were. He was airing that thing out, right? And I was like, I'm silly. I had to cross that thing. I had to get across.
Yeah.
I said, I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to go up there.
Did you even see a deer?
Didn't even see a deer.
That's what sucks about the refuge, man. You just never know.
The things we do. So, yeah, you're fortunate to get to hunt up there. Pike County's, I hear a lot about Pike County.
And another thing, too, like take Kentucky, for instance, where I was hunting.
Yeah.
If the weather's not right, if the wind's not right or whatever, hunting in a competitive situation, if you don't sign your area out, somebody else will.
In that club?
Yes. In Illinois, where I'm at, if the wind's wrong, guess what? I ain't going anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So you completely leave them alone and just wait till conditions are perfect.
Right.
And there's so much more chance of you seeing the deer you're looking for in those scenarios than just constantly pressuring him in the iffy or wrong situation.
That's the great part of owning your own property. You get to make all the decisions.
That's right.
Yeah, and that helps. I mean, I asked you what you attribute to killing big deer, and that's part of it, man. Being able to make all the decisions that you want to make on a piece of property.
Yeah. Human intrusion to me is terrible.
Yeah.
I've got my top 5 things or whatever that I think are no-nos, and human intrusion is number one.
What is your top 5?
I would say number 1 would be human intrusion. Number 2 is hunting the wind correctly when you're hunting.
Yeah.
Number 3, having the food that they need or whatever. No domesticated dogs running through there and things. I think dogs are your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of a problem with that on my place. I've got a neighbor that has dogs and he doesn't keep them up. And he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to talk some more with him about that. I'm hoping that he handles that.
Yeah.
And then number 5, I think, is food. Having all the food that I said 5 bad things, but I threw some good ones in there too.
Right.
But having something, good food, good bedding, all that stuff where they're staying and living on your property.
Yeah.
And the lack of intrusion, you're not running them off.
Yeah. When you get to hold some deer.
Yeah. And the dogs will run them off.
No, sure.
So,
yeah. I've seen that a lot. Back where I'm from, dogs come through barking and yelping and carrying on, chasing them out. Yeah. Blow them out of I always say blow them out of the county, but I don't know how far, but it'll push them out.
And everybody's not as nice as me. Some people will kill the neighbor's dogs.
Sure.
If they come through.
Oh yeah. In a heartbeat.
But I've tried to do the right thing and call him and have conversation with him. And like I said, he's very receptive and super nice. And he's working on it.
Now you pretty much bow hunt only, right? You don't gun hunt up there.
Well, they have 2 shotgun seasons and 1 muzzleloader season, and it's just weekend hunts. It's like a 2 or 3 day hunt each time.
Yeah.
And so I buy the tags. But most of the time I just bow hunt. I don't
all your good deer has been killed bow hunting.
No, the one this year I actually did kill the shotgun.
Oh, did you?
The 186.
The 186. Okay.
Killed him. I've got a 20 gauge Savage and shot him with that. So, and the funny thing is, I had been getting pictures of him, and I really didn't realize he was as big as what he was. I was going to pass him.
Really?
I thought I'm going to wait another year on this
pass on a 186,
or I might let my dad, try to go after him. And matter of fact, the first day Dad was up there, I sent him in there, and I said, "There's a pretty decent 10-point in here. If he comes in, you smash him." And not realizing how big he was. So the first time I saw him in person, he stepped out, and I was like, "Oh my word." That is a stud
Hold
right
up,
there.
Dad.
Yeah. So I went ahead and killed him. But originally at the beginning of the season, I didn't plan on shooting him.
Yeah, and you had him on camera. You just couldn't tell.
I had all kind of pictures of him. He didn't look. I mean, he was a big deer. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't realize he had the mass that he had on him.
Yeah,
because his body was so big.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, that surprises me though that the camera didn't tell the full story.
Oh, it didn't. And usually they have horn shrinkage. And this was just the opposite. But, we talk about going to the gym and stuff. This is the first time in my life. Usually when I kill one, most of the time I'm by myself. And usually when I kill one, I'll drag it out to the field or whatever. And then I'll back the truck up and I'll just bend down and grab the antlers and deadlift him into the truck.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him in.
Really?
Yeah. I had to use ratchet straps. I couldn't.
What you're saying is you hadn't been to the gym enough.
Well, that's probably part of it. That's probably part of it. Yeah. So I'm gonna be working on them deadlifts this year.
It's because we're getting old.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It is. I promise. Used to it was no problem.
I used to pull up next to him, the head on the with the side of my four wheeler, and I'd do that same thing. I'd get him long ways, and I would just pick up, and then I'd step off the back of that four wheeler,
and just drag him right over on there.
Yeah, off the other side. But I'm gonna tell you what I did one year. I stepped up, and when I went one step back, my boot was wet and muddy. I slipped, and my boot went underneath the rack. Thank goodness I'm as tall as I am, because my back hit before my leg.
It have broke your ankle.
Yeah, it broke it.
Yeah, it would have.
But thank goodness so I quit doing that nonsense.
Man, I used to do kind of that too. I've got a picture I'm gonna send you.
Yeah.
Too, of a deer I killed in Kentucky on the back of that 4-wheeler, and he's swallowed that 4-wheeler up.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a good picture.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's and then getting older too, we're more likely to get injured doing things.
Yeah. I try to make good decisions. I'll tell this story. I can tell it now. My son watches this. He's going to laugh. But I actually climbed a tree, and I was always terrible about not tying my bottom to my top. You know what I'm saying?
I don't do it either.
It happens.
Did you get stuck?
So I climbed and hunted the whole afternoon.
Yeah.
And my son had to go to work that night. And I turned and I kicked my foot up underneath that rubber strap, or underneath that quick climber. They make those plastic quick climbers. And instead of kicking all the way through it, I kicked it, and it pushed it up, and it dropped about 10 feet.
And so you're sitting on
I'm sitting on the rail.
the top of it. Yeah.
I got a backpack on. I'm sitting on the rail. I've already let down my crossbow. I'm thinking, what can I do?
Yeah.
I thought, if I call my wife, she's not going to know where to come. She don't even know her way around, right? So I called my son. I said, hey, you on to work yet? He said, I'm fixing to leave. I said, I need some help. And I was embarrassed. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I said, hey, I kicked my bottom stand out. He said, are you kidding me? I said, but I don't want to make you late for work. I can call somebody else. He said, I'll be right there.
Oh gosh.
He had to come out there, carry his climber out to the tree, put it on the tree, climb up, and push my climber up so I could get down. I said, hey, just leave your climber on the ground. I'll carry everything back in, He said, no, I got it. Well, he tied his back together, and he was gone before I ever even got my stuff wrapped up.
What was the time frame that happened until he got there to help?
Probably an hour.
So you sat on that rail.
I sat on that rail.
Feet dangling.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Did you think about trying to hug the tree?
I did.
And get down some?
I thought about it, and I thought, I had my vest on, and I was attached to the tree, and I thought, how am I gonna do both? Slide the rope and go and hug the tree and go down. I thought, there's no way I can do that. I'm not like I am when I was young. I'm 265 pounds.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's just no way.
Yeah, that could be scary, but I guess that's one of them things. If you dip, just get your can out and put one in your lip and wait on somebody.
That's all I could do. And I thought, if worst comes to worst, I'd just get my wife out there. I don't know what she could do other than she could have tied my rope to it. No, she couldn't have reached it. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'd have had to deal with it, But it's one of those things where you learn. It's a learning experience. And since then, I've tied them all to the bottom.
Yeah, I love to hunt out of a climber because to me that's the most comfortable stand that exists.
It is.
But and again, back to the hunting competitively. I never left a stand in the woods because I didn't want anybody to know where I was hunting exactly.
Right.
So I carried a climber in every time there. But now in Illinois, I have lock-ons and ladder stands. And
I was going to say, if I had my own property, I'd probably shoot box blinds out on the fields, but I would probably hang lock-ons in the woods.
I love a lock-on because it's so quiet.
Yeah, it's just so convenient.
Now I ride that bicycle in there.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, just talking about different if, ands, or buts, but it's so cold up there. If it's 5 or 6 below zero, let's just say, and you put all your crap on and walk in, man, you're pouring sweat by the time you get in there.
Especially the gear we got today.
Yes, and so having that bicycle and being able to go ahead and dress warm and ride all the way in, really the only physical exertion you're doing is climbing the tree, so you don't sweat in that amount of time.
I'll say I never was a believer in those bicycles.
No.
Never. Until we went to Montana, and I became a believer.
I don't know how I hunted without one.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And there's several advantages too. I think your boots are not touching the ground. And no matter how scent proof you try to be, I mean, I don't wear my boots anywhere but in and out from the stand.
Yeah.
I put them in the back of the truck until I get there. I wear my shoes to when I'm driving, if I got to get out and get gas or whatever it is. But still, even doing that and walking in the creek and scraping them on the bottom of the creek and everything else, if they cross where you've walked, they still smell it.
Yeah, man. I used to always say, hey, it's the luck of the draw where you're setting and things. When I was young, I didn't know any different, right? And then guys like you that kill big deer and you get to talk about it, and man, there's an art to it. I mean, it's spending the time, and you talk about the food source and things like that. There's an art to it.
Yeah, there is.
Putting in that time and that work and figuring it out. That's amazing to me.
Well, and then kind of what I was getting at with the boots, riding that bicycle in, they never touch the ground.
Right.
And if you're walking, let's just say you have to walk by a bedding area. I think maybe if you're going faster than walking, maybe it doesn't spook them as bad. I don't know if that's a thing.
Those bikes are super quiet.
Oh, very, very
I
much
mean,
so.
man, we use those things in Montana to get up on the mountain every day, and I was just like, wow, I had no idea.
I love it. I mean, that's
very nice.
That's one of my favorite things that we have to our advantage now is having that bicycle.
Yep. Very nice.
They don't like the mud and snow all that much, but I mean, I make it work,
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, man, you've come away with some good deer up in Illinois.
Yeah, it's
and Kentucky.
Yeah. Kentucky by far is the highest scoring deer. But when you have a history with one, the 175 I killed up there, I had hunted for 4 years, and
really?
I just couldn't kill him. And there was a couple other guys that had hunted that property. They leased it before I did, and they had been trying to kill him. He was a 9-year-old.
Yeah, really.
And they had been trying to kill him. They had sheds from him, and they couldn't kill him. He just, where he lived, you couldn't go in there. He had escape routes, obviously, and the wind swirled down in the bottom where he stayed in, and it wasn't really that big of an area, but he could either see you coming in or smell you coming in, and you just couldn't set up on him. He was so smart.
Isn't that crazy how smart a deer can be?
But his belly got him. It was -16 the day I killed him.
He was hungry.
And he had to come get something to eat. It was the last day of the season.
Last day. Wow. I stuck it out. Just stuck it out to the last day. And that was a 175, you said?
Yeah, he was 175. He a mainframe 8 with a split G2. It's kind of funny. My wife was with me when I killed. She's almost, I think, my good luck charm. Because she doesn't go very often.
Don't tell her that.
Well, I know. And I told you she had came up to spend the night because I had been in Kentucky for so long.
Yeah.
And I killed it the next day that she was there.
Right.
So she was with me for that one. She actually went in and helped me retrieve that one. So that was pretty special. But then we were the little camp that I stayed in was not insulated very well at all.
Yeah.
And so it dropped down to -16. And the wind,
gosh.
I don't know what the wind chill was, but I had told her, I said, we probably better go ahead and just cut the water off and try to drain these pipes. She's like, well, I'm not staying up here if I can't use the toilet in here or whatever. And, you're just going to have to figure it out. So I said, all right, we'll just deal with it if it happens, I guess. So we left the water on, and I would get up periodically during the night and turn them on and let it run. You know? Well, I got up, it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got up and turned on and wouldn't do anything. So all of the pipes froze.
Oh, no.
The sinks and drain lines, everything. Well, then I guess we had flushed the toilet a few times, after the freezing had started taking place. Well, this place started smelling like sewage. And so the last 2 days we were there, it was almost the cold. I don't think we could get it above 40 degrees in the camp.
Wow.
There's no central heat and air or anything, and so we had space heaters plugged in and stuff, but it with no insulation, and it being that cold and the wind blowing, there's nothing you can do.
Sure.
And once those pipes froze, buddy, she was ready to come back to Alabama.
I bet.
And I said, the conditions are perfect for me to kill this deer. I said, you got to hang in here for one more day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the last day of the season. And so I think I kind of made her mad, but I went out and killed him the next day. So
that's awesome.
It was all worth it. But man, that smell was brutal. And it was cold. She was in there bundled up and everything, And
that is brutal, man.
But man, I tell you, when it's, that's the one thing that's been a huge adjustment hunting up there is that cold. I mean, because when it gets that cold, everything is frozen. Your breath on the bill of your hat, you'll get little icicles, and your eyelashes will get ice on them.
That's a different kind of cold.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah, and and sitting in a lock on with it like that. That's
oh my gosh, that's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've gotten to where the cold I'm not as good with it as I used to be. Yeah,
well,
I can tell.
we're getting old.
Well, that, and I've been down here, and it doesn't seem to get that. It even back home, it's not as cold usually when in southeast Missouri as what it has been when I was a kid. But even I think you're right. As I gotten older, I'm just like, man, I don't like dealing with it.
I don't either. And you know that we've got some advantages now. And don't get me wrong. If I have a choice to sit in a shooting house with a Mr. Buddy heater running and it's that cold, I'm going to do that. But if that's not where the deer I'm hunting's at,
that's right.
It may not be a choice. But now there's, I bought some little insole. They're called Hottronics.
Yeah.
And they go inside. They're made for snow skiers. And they're an insole that goes in your boot, and it just heats under your toes.
Oh.
It doesn't heat the whole insole.
Okay.
And they're not wireless or anything. There's a little cord that comes up out of the back, and the battery clips onto your boot. But those work phenomenal.
Wow.
So I use those, and then I've got some electric ones that I use for my hands. And if I can keep my toes and my fingers, I'm usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But now they have the heated vest too.
Yeah.
So
my wife got one of those.
Yeah. So when you, even if it's that cold, if you're dressed appropriately and you've got the advantage of having that battery powered stuff, it's really not all that bad.
I will say we duck hunted one time, and we had one of those buddy heaters, and it was so cold that morning we broke ice to get back in there, and then we broke ice out of the hole, and then threw decoys out. By the time the sun was coming up, the spread was freezing up again.
Really?
But every time somebody'd go out, they'd break that ice. And anyways, that buddy heater, we ran out of gas. I thought we was all going to freeze to death.
Those things are nice.
Well, once you get used to that heat, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Oh yeah,
it's like it's worse. The cold's worse for some reason.
The only disadvantage I would say of using them, and I do have some shooting houses up there with them in them, but if it's real cold, it'll freeze the windows.
Yeah.
Like you got a little condensation, they fog up, and before you can get it wiped off, it freezes. And so you're fighting that battle that's when it's extremely cold. But I really honestly would rather sit in a stand instead of in a box blind.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So do you still duck hunt? Is that something you're still into?
Man, I'll be honest, I hate to say it, I didn't even go this year.
Yeah.
They were on and off. Then all of a sudden, boom, it froze up there. I was planning on going the last week. I've got some guys that come in from North Carolina that's friends with my cousin, and they come in every year. But that last week, it froze up, froze them completely out. And so they I think they did a little dry field hunting and stuff like that. Then season was over.
I haven't been in years. I had a dog. Her name was Annie, and she lived to be 16. And I was a big duck hunter.
Oh, yeah?
We lived over in Scottsboro, and the hunting over there is phenomenal. But when she died, it just wasn't the same. I loved to watch her work.
Yeah.
And she was such a good dog. But when she died, I just kind of lost my interest in it.
I tell people it's fun. We never had a dog. And I don't want to say, I'm not a huge of a hunter. Duck hunter is what those guys are back home, right? They do it 60-day season. They're hunting 60 days. That's the way they operate.
Yeah.
And, me being down here, I don't get back as much as I'd like to, but they never used a dog ever. We were
really?
No. We
That's
always
the fun part of it.
We chase cripples now. It's funny now that the past 5 years that I've gone home to hunt with them, how much things changed. We used to walk in, break ice, pushing boats, doing all this work, and now those guys ride those Can-Ams in, hauling everybody, chasing cripples down with a boat and a mud motor. While everybody else is sitting in the blind. It's just now they're cooking in the blinds, where we never did that stuff before that I went.
There's little Debbie cakes back then.
Oh, exactly right. A twist off Mountain Dew and some little Debbie's is about it. And now they're cooking full blown meals, and it's just changed over time as we've gotten older.
Oh yeah, I may start doing some other things now. Whitetail is obviously my passion, but I'm probably never going to top that 239. I hope to kill another 200. I would love to kill a 200-inch deer on my farm.
Sure.
I raised a 200-inch deer and did that, but it may not ever happen. It's so difficult to get one to 200 inches. But I may start doing some other things, like going on some things like maybe a helicopter hog hunt.
I see those.
I wouldn't mind killing a Kodiak bear at some point, and do a moose and an elk, and doing some things like that.
Yeah. Now I've killed a hog. I've killed a few hogs. My wife set me up on a trip, and her and I got to go do that.
Did you do it out of a helicopter?
No. we did. They had one of those FLIR systems. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I think the military uses those FLIR systems where it's heat seeking, and this guy had it mounted to the top of his Suburban, and in his Suburban he had a computer, and he had, and that computer read off that FLIR, and it picks up all the the heat out in the field. So those hogs, they're red on that screen, right?
So it's just a thermal setup.
It's a thermal setup, and it's called FLIR. And anyways, he would drive at night with with the goggles on it, the night vision goggles, and then you're looking at that screen, and then man, you'd see him out there. Cool. It was actually really neat, a lot of hogs. And he had told me, I was in the front seat, and he's like, if you're going to see a big hog, a big male, he's going to be by himself. He won't be in a group. You'll see him by himself. And a couple hours went by, and we rounded this corner out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where the heck we were. And there was a big male. Dude, he was eating those peanuts like it was just, it was like he was going down that road just scooping.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. And he said, there's a big male. He was by himself.
Yeah.
And that's the one I got to kill. Yeah, I got to kill him. And it was a good time. But, man, you got it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You're out shooting hogs.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind. Matter of fact, on my own farm, I've got coyotes bad up there I need to do something about. So
that's a good time.
I don't have any of that set. I don't have any of that thermal stuff or anything.
Yeah, so. Coyote hunting this time of the year, when it gets good and cold, that's fun. We used to do that when we were young. Yeah. When snow was on. But it's a good time. We just ride around, shoot them out, out of the truck back in the day.
That's right.
I don't even know if you can do that anymore. But
I don't know. I guess you can. It may not be legal. But
that was a long time ago. Yeah. But good times. But yeah, man, it's nice to own your own farm and like I say, get to harvest some deer like that, dude.
Yeah, I have been real pleased with what I've seen on it over the last few years. But man, so disappointed at the same time as the ones that didn't make it.
Yeah.
I had one that I had named Wrench. If I'd thought about it, I'd have brought the sheds to show you. But he was going to be one of my target bucks this year. I found both of his sheds last year.
Right.
And I hadn't measured them, but I know he's in the 170s last year.
Yeah. What's sad is now it feels like you got to, if you find the deer that if they suffered from EHD, then you're going to have to regrow your herd. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're talking about another 5-year process.
Exactly, unless you're fortunate enough to get some deer to move onto your property and they stay.
Yeah,
which the likelihood of that is not great.
And it could be coincidence, but it seems to me that it just seems to affect the bucks more than the does.
I wonder why.
I don't know, and that may not be the case.
It may not.
It may just be coincidence, but it just seems to me that it's that way.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, surely it's not that. Well, you'd probably think it's that way just because that's what you're looking for is a big buck. But but yeah, surely not. Surely not.
I don't know.
But man, you just mentioned a while ago. You may never kill another 239, and you may not. But to me, I watch a lot of these hunting shows and stuff. A mainframe deer that's a 180. That's a big deer.
It is.
That's a beautiful deer too.
If I can get them to 8 years old, I'm happy.
Right.
And to me, I love the whole scoring and all that stuff. But if I kill an 8-year-old deer, I feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah.
Number one, growing him and helping him survive that long, and then being able to harvest him too.
Yeah. Holding him that long, feeding him, watching him, getting all the pictures to see him develop over time. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's almost a little bittersweet because once you kill him, that chase with that one's over.
Yeah, it's over.
You've been watching him for so long.
Time to move on to the next.
The next little one. That's right. So I hope to get to a point where I have multiple every year and pick from one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of just hoping that I have a mature deer to hunt.
Yeah,
like it was this year.
That's what I was saying. What it seemed like this year.
It was.
Now, what about the guys that hunted around you? Like some of your other buddies, did they get to kill anything?
One of them, he's got a farm that's much larger than mine. They killed some culls on his that were mature bucks, but they weren't what I would consider his targeted bucks. He's usually looking for something special.
Yeah, I've seen some of the deer on his wall.
Yeah, and he didn't kill one. He killed one, but like I said, cull stuff.
Yeah.
And his culls, in a lot of people's eyes, are sure enough trophies. But he's trying to grow really nice deer. And but yes, they experienced the same thing. Several that they had been watching, and may or may not have been shooters this past season. but they stopped getting pictures of them, and so they're pretty confident that they got hit with EHD.
Now, I will say the old boy that you're talking about, I've seen his room.
Oh, it's impressive.
He's got some impressive stuff.
It is very impressive.
I'm talking about lions, giraffes, some hellacious deer, alligator. I mean, wildebeest.
Yeah, lions, everything.
I mean, doing it all.
And then Travis, of course, he didn't, the deer he was after this year, he never saw.
Yeah.
And so pretty confident that's what happened to him. Mm-hmm. And I realize they can die many other ways. Again,
but when that's moving in, or that's there, then that's probably.
And if you had pictures of them after season closed, the year before, they made it.
Sure.
I mean, they could have, died from the bad weather when it gets so cold and stays below freezing for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah,
they can die from that. I found last year when I was shed hunting, there were 2 yearling bucks. They were both spikes, and they had curled up under a cedar tree of some kind that went all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
And I just happened to see part of a bone steel and raised limb, and they had curled up there together under that tree and died.
Oh, really?
And I think it was probably they froze to death, probably.
Wow.
Just little and couldn't take those extreme temperatures.
I bet that was a sight.
It was kind of sad, really.
Yeah, sure.
But that's just those brutal conditions. They, I think once they get past a year old, if they've got enough to eat, they can handle it pretty good. But that first year when they're so little and they don't have much body fat, it's tough on them.
I bet. Yeah, I bet. That food source is important. And I don't know if you get to feed all year long, or I don't know what you do. But
you can't do any kind of supplemental feeding up there.
Not even afterwards?
Nothing. And not in the summer months, nothing.
Wow.
And so what I typically do, I've got some green plots, but I'll usually leave standing corn and beans both. So if there is a foot of snow on the ground, they can still get in there and get something to eat.
Wow, that seems odd. You can't even feed after. I mean,
you can't put minerals out. And I would love to be able to do stuff just in the off season.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just off season, keeping them fed, keeping them around.
I mean, if you think about it, the end of January and all of February, that's really when they need the most food, and it's brutal cold and snow on the ground, and that's when they have nothing.
Yeah.
And so I think those are the hardest 2 months of the year for them.
Yeah.
Because once everything starts greening up, I mean, you've got stuff, the farmers are planting a lot of soybeans and stuff, and alfalfa's greening up, and clover's greening back up. And
well, let me ask you this. Do you keep cameras running all year?
I do.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess you kind of control, I say control, you get to see what's out there, what's upcoming, see what's moving around.
And it's really not even as much as, it's kind of a hassle to pull them all down and put them back up, but it's even more so some security if people are on your place or whatever,
I didn't think about that.
Dogs, that kind of thing too. So I want to know what's going on, because I don't want anything going on in their sanctuary, especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just kind of part of it. Run them all year.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot to take care of. Hey, well, maybe you get to retire here soon, and you can do that all the time.
Yeah,
we won't go into that.
No, I've had to pay somebody for so long to do bush hogging and planting and spraying and trimming and whatever it is, and I'm going to try to start doing more and more of that. Myself, because I enjoy doing that stuff.
Oh, that's fun stuff, man. I love bush hogging.
I do too.
Yeah, I enjoy just kind of riding and just in peace.
And you got a cab tractor?
Yeah.
See, now that's what I don't have yet.
Oh my gosh, man. That's the only way to go.
I'll have to figure that out as I get older.
So right before I bought mine, I went out and I talked to, there's a place that sells the same brand that I have, and the Bad Boy. And he's like, man, I can sell you, a brand new one, cabless, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, look here, buddy. I said, I worked in a steel mill for 28 years. I am not riding cabless.
Tired of being hot.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. It's nice.
Well, you get sunburn and exhaust in your face, and you swamp ass and everything.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
But yeah, same with me. We keep the air at our house on 65.
Yeah,
and my wife's always bundled up. But I've worked out in the heat for 30 years.
Sure.
So when I'm at home, I want to be cool.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, it'd be nice to have a cab for a change.
You gonna buy you one?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's nice. You'll appreciate that.
Once I start doing all this stuff, I've got my skid steer is a cab, but it's really not practical for what I need to do up there.
Yeah.
I need a 10 or 12 foot bush hog and things like that. And that, I also like sitting up on a tractor where you can kind of see everything and you're pulling behind you instead of pushing something in the grass like on the skid steer. And it's only going to be 6 feet wide too.
Right.
So, I'll probably sell it and buy a tractor with that.
That'd be good. Well, all right, man. What else? We leave anything out?
Man, I can't think of much. I'm gearing up for turkey season. That's coming up,
Now, you'll go back up there to turkey hunter, because I know you got some ground here in this area too.
There's none on it. Yeah,
okay.
I've got a little farm here that I inherited, and I piddle out there quite a bit and keep cameras and stuff out there, but I've never seen a turkey out there.
No, okay.
So, yeah, I'll go up. I drew a tag for the 3rd week, I think it is, which is, I'd have to look at the calendar. I think it's the last week of April.
Oh, you have to draw a tag for turkey hunting?
It's a lottery, yeah. Now, on the farm that I own, I can hunt the whole season.
Okay.
On that landowner tag. But just as far as like if you were going to go hunt up there, you'd have to put in for a lottery tag.
Just for a turkey.
Yeah. And it's they do it by weeks. So you've got, I think it's 4 or 5 different weeks. And you specify the week you want, and hopefully you get it.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I never knew a turkey would be a lottery thing.
It is.
So
yeah, their deer licenses are actually the same way. It's a lottery, but I think this is the first year ever that they sold out of license. So I imagine what they'll do next year is just increase the number of licenses that they sell.
Yeah,
you can buy over the counter tags on deer, but
right.
Technically it's a lottery, and you apply online and you get it, but I've never heard of anybody not being able to get one.
What about public land hunting up there? Is there a lot of it?
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. I guess a lot of people come into that area. I don't know what an out-of-state tag costs.
Well, the Shawnee forest is just right over the line when you come out of Kentucky.
Okay.
And it's a huge national forest.
Yeah, I think we drove through that when we were headed up. When I bought my truck up in Illinois, so I think we did. I think we went through there.
If you go up through Clarksville, Hopkinsville
That's
way
right,
on 24, you go right through it. And then there's some public land up there in Pike County where we hunt. It's not near as big as what Shawnee is.
Yeah.
Shawnee's huge.
Yeah.
But I've never really hunted much of it.
Right.
My father-in-law used to hunt Shawnee a lot when he was younger, but they've quit going.
Okay. Might be dang. I didn't know. I just kind of popped in my head. I hadn't thought about. I never really hunted a lot of public ground myself growing up, so I didn't. I didn't know what was available or how much an out-of-state tags were, because they keep going up.
I think the whole shebang is about $400 to get your license and your either sex tag.
Yeah, I think Missouri was like $275. I think it's even probably going up to. I always say they kind of like to keep us out of towners.
Oh, that's
out
right.
of there. Yeah,
you'd think they'd want us there though for the tax
money.
revenue and the money spent.
Yeah, man, money on tags and the staying in hotels and eating and doing all your gas,
everything.
Man, you'd think they'd want you, but it doesn't seem like. They keep going up. That's what I blame it on. So I don't know if that's really what it is or not.
Well, and Travis and I joke. We go into that farm and home store up there, and hey, I'm gonna run in here and just see if they got anything I need, and he'll come out with a truck bed full of stuff.
Oh, sure he does. That's the way he rolls.
So that's our favorite spot up there to shop. But if they didn't have the out of state hunters, I mean, their business would be way down. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in here and we'll talk about some deer hunting.
I love it. I love sitting down and talking about it, man. I could talk another 2 or 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you've had some good success and and what you've killed, and you may not kill another 239, but still you get to go into an area and take care of an area and hunt an area that 180s, 185s, 190s. I mean, that's great deer, man.
It's
a lot of people don't get to do that.
Yeah, it's becoming a yearly thing, and I'm very fortunate and feel blessed to be able to do it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in and appreciate Heath coming in and talking to us. So we'll see you on the next time. Peace out.